Good morning and welcome to this exciting day to talk about business. It's Business 360 and my name is Blyden, Australia's new central bank governor. We'll also talk about the stock markets. Stick with a conversation from an Australian point of view. Australia, since it was founded in 1960. Michelle Bullock will succeed Philip Lowe, who approaches the end battling rising prices, and the Apex Bank is facing a major shakeup. The financial services industry is male-dominated and has one of the nation's widest gender pay gap. Well, good news from Australian workers: pay raises in a bid to end strikes triggered by a cost of living crisis, as thousands decided to accept recommendation for pay increases. Treasury Chief Secretary John Glenn said on Thursday, giving doctors and teachers at least 6%, but are aimed to bridging the gap following a huge industrial unrest across Britain over falling real wages. The US regulators are probing artificial intelligence company OpenAI. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, sent a letter to the Microsoft-backed business requesting information on how it addresses risks technology. Still in the US. The U.S. competition watchdog, the Federal Trade Commission, has lost its latest bid. The giant proposed $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard and would be the biggest of all kinds and split regulators around the world. It is due to be completed by 18th July. On Russia regarding the war in Ukraine. President Joe Biden says Russia cannot sustain years of war. Biden told reporters in Finland. Let's hear more from President.
Those comments could motivate Putin to keep the war going or discourage him from entering peace negotiations.
First of all, no one can join NATO while a war is going on, where a NATO nation is being attacked, because that guarantees that they will join NATO. The issue of whether or not this is going to keep Putin from continuing to fight, the answer is Putin's already lost the war. What vehicle is used? He could end the war tomorrow. He could just say, I'm out. But what agreement is ultimately reached depends upon Putin and what he decides to do. But there is no possibility of him winning the war in Ukraine.
Just on the question of a concern about it going on for years, is there a possibility that there's a stalemate in this becoming?
I'm sorry, years for two reasons. Number one, I don't think that that Russia could maintain the war forever. Number one, in terms of their resources, eventually. President Putin is going to decide it's not in the interest of Russia, economically, politically, or otherwise, to continue this war. But I can't predict exactly how that happens. My hope is, and my expectation is,
in Africa. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have agreed to launch urgent negotiations to conclude a deal between Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan on the filing of the Grand Ethiopian bonds. Both nations expressed a willingness to overcome the long-standing impasse and seek an amicable solution to address concerns about water scarcity and the dam's impact, which has been ongoing since construction on the GERD began in 2020. The 11 power distribution companies in Nigeria have applied for a review through a notice published by the Nigerian authorities affecting the quality of service, operations, and sustainability of the companies. Next stated that the application for rate review by the power firms was in line with the rules contained in the Electricity Act. LLC, the flagship subsidiary of Access Holdings, has completed its acquisition of majority equity in Angola on Thursday. Access Holdings had earlier announced the deal on October 4, 2022, and had received regulatory approval in Nigeria and Angola. Expand its production capacity through the construction of a 6 new metric tons integrated cement plant in Itori, Ogun State. The company, in a statement, said it would soon deploy grinding plants in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire to ensure cement became available in all African countries. Strengthen local production of Dangote cement in Africa. Pathak spoke at the closing gong to the dealing members of the exchange. Let's talk about oil production in Nigeria and its earnings. The country's output last month, according to latest oil production figures released by the federal government. The June 2023 crude oil production report of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission indicated 160 barrels. The new report also stated that the total crude oil output in June was 37,468,798 barrels, up from a total of 36,694,400. Good time to look at global economy, economic data all around the world, and the statistics that comes with it, beginning with US in May, and compared to expectations of a 0.2% increase. The cost of services advanced 0.2%, while goods prices were unchanged, as a decline in food index PPI edged up 0.1%, the least since August 2020. In Africa, South African mining, after an upwardly revised 3.2% rise in the prior month. The largest negative contributors were PGMs and diamonds, chromium ore and iron ore. On a seasonally adjusted monthly basis, mining production slumped by 3.8% in May, the most in 3 months after a downwardly revised. The annual inflation rate in Ethiopia eased for a third consecutive month to 29.3% in June of 2023, the lowest reading since July of 2021, compared to 30.8% in May, as prices slowed for almost all components and cereals, fruits and vegetables. Other smaller increases were also seen for prices of non-food items, drawers, refrigerator, fuel, medical care, educational materials, and gold. Inflation in Ethiopia, year war, in the north of the country, consumer price index increased 3.3% in Ethiopia. According to statistical data in Ethiopia, as in October 2022, before moving higher to a peak point of 35.1% to 34.2% before dropping slightly to 33.5% in April. Then Ethiopia, but it's a slight slowdown. Let's look at the commodity market when we return from this break. Don't go anywhere. We begin with energy market as oil hits for third weekly gain. For the third straight week, underpinned by supply disruption and a tightening global markets. Libya's second largest oil field is that follows signs that Russian flows are finally starting to decline, with a global market expected to tighten on world oil demand, raising its growth forecast for 2023, and cooler than expected US inflation numbers also raise hopes that the Federal Reserve may be nearing the end of its rate hiking cycle, boosting market sentiments. Benchmark Brent. The market this morning. The energy market this morning has shown slight positivity and negativity on the other hand, but the volatility level is so low in the market, exception for coal. Coal drops at 1.05 points. Current price for coal is 128 US dollars per ton, a negative 0.81% decline. WT 1.4 US dollars per barrel. Talking about other markets would be the Met indicates gold price dropping by 3 points. Current price for gold is 1,957 US dollars per ounce. For silver, the price is 24 US dollars per 738 Chinese yuan per ton. The agricultural market would be next. Looking at the agricultural market and the standing in the morning market, The price for soybeans has dropped by 6 points this morning and $45 per bushel. Lumber dropping slightly, palm oil dropping by 32 points in the morning market. Current price for palm oil is 3,833 Malaysian ringgit per ton, to its highest level since February 2022. Todd Colvin examines this. Let's hear from Todd.
The euro currency sees another big move higher today, getting north of the 112 level. Its highest it's traded since going back to all the way in February. Higher. 1 week ago, the euro was trading very close to 108. Today, it's trading north of 112. A lot of that having to do with the shift in expectations in the U.S. based on rate hikes possibly stopping after the July meeting, whereas the ECB looks to continue, or at least keeps the door open to continue with rate hikes moving forward. Again, the euro moving north of 112 for the first time since Feb of 2022. Now, despite the fact that we did see a move prior to the U.S. CPI volatility,
is the outlook of the market, the euro against the US dollar. Let's move to the market itself and see what the prices are this morning for some of these pairs. The euro against the US dollar and the state of things regarding Nigeria's naira. The euro against the US dollar has pegged the price at 1.12 points, indicating improvement from 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago. It was at 1.10 point mark. 0.00046 points, not significant at all. For the pounds against the US dollar, a slight decline too. Current price is at a level of 1.31 points. Dollar against naira is pegged at 776 naira at the moment for $1 US. For the euro against the naira, the current price 4 points this morning over the naira is 0.75% appreciation. For pounds against the naira, it's gone up to 1,014 naira, equaling £1, a gain of 8.26 points in favor of the pound. Now to the parallel markets. So it's an exporter's window. The dollar to naira indicates price level of 810 naira, equaling $1 at buying rate, and 1,065 naira, equaling £1 at the selling rates. The euro in the black market. While we hear that Bitcoin climbs, hitting its strongest level in 18 months, as signs that US inflation is on a downward trend raise hopes to boost the prices, though the US SEC has yet to approve. Bitcoin price have shown slight decline after getting closer to the 35,500 mark. It's dropped by 127 points. Current price for Bitcoin is $31,233. A drop of 0.4 points this morning. Ether are a little here, a little there for Cardano, Solana, and Ripple. Now to the stock markets. Asian stocks mostly rose on easing US inflation. Rose less than expected in June. Posted bets that the Federal Reserve is close to the end of its rate hiking. The US Central Bank is still seen raising rates, but Singapore's economy grew 0.7% year-on-year in the second quarter, avoiding technical risk. 125 Kospi, Hang Seng, and Shanghai Composite Indexes advance. Well, we're set to draw a conclusion on it. The African stock market has shown decline for the Nigerian stock market this morning after dropping 1,298 basis points, a negative 2.03% decline. South African stocks are doing quite well, the SA40, SA All. Here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching. My name is Blyden Okem.